Today, we are ranking 2024 albums. I have this tier list right here. 100 plus records are on this tier list, and it's mainly the biggest, most important releases of the year. And we're ranking it on a tier of S to F, F being the worst, S being the best. So let's get into it. Starting with Beyonce, Cowboy Carter, which to me is like a really, really good installment in the ongoing trilogy, the Renaissance trilogy. The more I listen to it, I don't like it as much as Renaissance. However, I do think it is one of Beyonce's most ambitious projects. Like, I think she took the most risks she's ever had on this album in terms of the production and a lot of the vocal stuff she was trying out. I mean, that one track Daughter that has like a straight up like opera bridge is insane. Well produced. Vocals are amazing, obviously. It's a good take on the country sound from her perspective. And yeah, there's a good addition to this Renaissance trilogy thing. I think it's a top 3 Beyonce album. So I'm going to put this in the A tier. We're going to start off big in the A tier. It might be a little bloated, the album, but still, mostly highlights, mostly very good tracks. All right, moving on from there, we have, Taylor Swift, The Tortured Poets Department, the best-selling album of the year, I guess. Yeah, a lot of that is bundles, but still. God, what a boring album. What a dreadfully boring album. It just kind of feels like Midnight's leftovers. Some of Taylor's weakest songwriting of her career. Production is painfully dull and uninspired, drab, and it doesn't even have... Look, I was not a big Midnight's person, right? But at least Midnight's had some catchy tracks. Like Bejeweled was pretty catchy. Anti-Hero was pretty catchy as well. Solid hooks throughout. But I don't know, man. Like, there was not a standout track to me on this record. There were some moments songwriting-wise where I was like, really? Like, she said that? Made me cringe a little bit. So yeah, some of her weakest writing, easily the worst production, the most boring production she's ever been over. Yeah, is it the worst album I heard this year? No, but painfully forgettable. Easily the most forgettable record to me to come out of like a mainstream artist, probably. At least for Taylor's notoriety. So yeah, I'm gonna have to put that in the D tier, unfortunately. All right, moving on from there, we have Ariana Grande, Eternal Sunshine. I mean, I've had takes about this record all year. I've said a million times already. I think the album starts off really strong. There's a lot of solid tracks, but it's just, I think the album ends off really weak. A lot of the single choices for this album still just make no sense to me, because We Can't Be Friends is easily the worst song on this record to me. How that one ended up being the biggest track, it just confuses me. What was the first single off this record? Forgetting. Yes and was the first single, and when I heard that song, I wasn't crazy about like the vocals or the writing, but I did love the production. I thought we were gonna get like this house record from Ari, and we didn't end up getting that. We just kind of got a mix of a bunch of different sounds, from R&B to more poppy stuff and a little bit of house here and there, but production a little bit all over the place. Songwriting, the second half, not as strong. I mean, vocally it's still there, but is it like some of Ariana's best vocal moments on here? Not really. It's a decent record. It's a decent record. I will stand by the fact I think it ends pretty weak, but there are some solid pop tracks on here. I'm putting it in C. I think it's a decent album. It's an okay album. All right. Here's one that is a recent one. SZA's newest deluxe kind of project for her newest record. A deluxe for SOS, the 2-year-old record. Lana. I haven't really talked about this record much. I did not have like the best first reaction to it, but I was also running on like no sleep, so I think that's part of the reason why. But with more listens, I've grown a lot to it. It does feel like a B-sides project. I'm kind of confused as to why people are saying, why didn't she just make this an album? Why is it's 15 tracks? Why is it not being labeled out? It doesn't feel like an album to me. It does feel like a lot of leftovers, B-sides kind of thing. But with that being said, even her B-sides are pretty solid. Like, I mean, vocals are always going to be there from SZA. Really heartfelt writing, as always, from one of the better songwriters in the mainstream. It's not like SOS level, obviously, but it's still a solid project. I'm going to throw this in the B tier. Now we have Kendrick Lamar, GNX. Off the bat, to me, go in an S tier. This is the rap album of the year. Rap album of the year, in my opinion. I mean, sure, it's not the grand conceptual album that like a To Pimp a Butterfly or a Good Kid, Mad City or even a Mr. Mal and the Big Steppers is, but it easily has some of the most catchy and fun songs Kendrick has ever made in his career. And that's all I kind of really wanted from Kendrick at this point in his career. An album that's just kind of fun. We're just making fun bangers. Nothing but bangers on this record, but it also has those deep storytelling tracks that we are known to come out of him, like a Reincarnated, which is, in my opinion, a top 10 Kendrick track. You also got the Heart Part 6 and the final track too. Like, the storytelling is still there. Those deep conceptual tracks are still there, and it just also has some of the biggest bangers he's ever made. Rap album of the year to me, just a exclamation point on the year that he had. S tier. S tier. All right. Oh man. Moving on from there. Dua Lipa. Radical Optimism. Probably the most disappointing project of the year, the most disappointed I've been by a project in a while, because it's the follow-up to Future Nostalgia, which is one of the best pop albums of the 2020 so far. And you know, the singles I thought were pretty solid for this, and her teaming up with Kevin Parker seemed like a dream combination on paper, but yeah, I mean, the end result was just really forgettable. The hooks weren't there like they always are from Dua. Production didn't feel as like vibrant and as exciting as Future Nostalgia did, and it really wasn't really trying anything new either. The one thing I can give Dua is I think the vocals are better than they ever have been from her. But yeah, easily the most disappointed I've been by a project this year, I think. It's okay though. It is okay overall. Some of the singles on this album do still go pretty hard. But other than that, C tier. Tyler, the Creator, Chromacopia. In terms of sound, it's not anything new from Tyler. I think it takes a really cool combination of all of his albums, from like Cherry Bomb to Flower Boy, Call Me If You Get Lost even, and definitely a lot of Igor too, and just kind of puts them all together into one. But I think what really hits home for me on this record is just how honest of a project it is from Tyler. Not like Tyler has never shied away from being honest in his music, but here he's like letting it more out than he ever has. It's a vulnerable record. Yeah, I love this album. I think this is a great album. Top 3 Tyler project for me. Another one of the best rap projects of the year. Putting this one in A. High A, low S to me. It's close to S. It wasn't my top 10 of the year. It was in my top 10 of the year. Another big one of the biggest mainstream projects of the year, Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft. One of the best pop albums coming out of the mainstream, for sure. I think Billie has matured a lot as a songwriter. Phineas killed it with the production. It's not like as experimental as her first record, which is why I probably prefer that one a little bit. But I mean, just really mature in terms of the writing and the production on Phineas's side as well. Oh, and vocally, Billie is like really proven the doubters and the haters wrong. Really showcasing her vocals on this record. Yeah, really good album. I'll probably throw this one in B. All right. Ooh, Katy Perry, 143, going in F tier. Come on. I mean, what a terrible album. Uninspired. Sounded like she did not care one bit. The lyrics are terrible. The hooks are atrocious. The production is dated as hell. It is easily one of the worst pop albums of the year. Uninspired garbage. I just don't understand why you would want to put out an album when your heart is not in it. So obviously not in it. Yeah, garbage album. F tier. Okay, let's do Brat. Charli XCX. Brat. What a cultural moment this whole thing was. And for someone who's been a Charli fan for so long, I would have never expected her to reach this level of popularity, especially because I don't think the music she makes is like particularly like that accessible. But I think on Brat, she really like, unlike Crash, which I think was trying a little bit too hard to be like mainstream accessible, I think here she did a good combination of like the production styles that make her so unique in the first place, and like also making it super catchy, like a track like 360, insanely catchy. Apple, so catchy, and on top of that, it's a heavy record from her. Like, she really pours her heart out on a lot of these tracks. Like I think about it all the time, and Sympathy is a Knife, where she digs into her insecurities. I mean, Girl So Confusing as well. The production is this cool clubby sound that's just so her, with the electronic pop that she's kind of known for. It's one of the best produced pop albums, probably the best produced pop album of the year. And obviously Charli just has such a one-of-a-kind unique sound that people have, and after this album will continue to try to duplicate. But amazing pop album. It's got to go in S tier. It has to. And from there, I guess we'll continue with the Brat, and it's completely different, but it's still Brat, kind of like remix project she did. I think this is like a remix album done the right way. Like, this is how you do a remix album. Most of the songs on here are just like completely revamped, which I think is really cool. Most of the features are really good additions. Some like not as great as others, definitely. And some of the tracks aren't as good as the originals, but I mean, I think it adds a lot of new things that the original tracks didn't. And it's also like a reflection of the rise in popularity that she had since the release of the record, which I think is cool as well. But yeah, cool little remix album. I think this is how everyone should do remix albums. B tier. Lil Uzi Vert, Eternal Take Two. I mean, default going in F. It's going in F. What happened? What the hell happened to Uzi? If this was some type of like elaborate endless scheme that they keep on trying to like say it is, a Frank Ocean endless scheme where like you drop a record to get out of your deal. But the thing is, Endless is like an amazing album. Just because you want to get out of your record deal, don't make your fans suffer too. Like, what a uninspired record. Like, I've never heard an album this. I don't think there was an album this year I heard more where it was so obvious the artist was not trying at all. all. Like, even the Katy Perry record, she was probably trying like at least like 60%. Uzi put no effort into this album. The writing, I mean, the rapping, I mean, Uzi's never been like a great rapper, don't get me wrong, but it's like a different level of terrible here. Not a good hook in sight. Production's dull as hell too. It's just annoying. Just an annoying album. So yeah, F tier. F tier. Gracie Abrams, Secret of Us. It's funny because I didn't even like hate Gracie's last album. I thought it was listenable. But man, I don't know, like this record just lacked any type of personality. Like I got no idea who Gracie was on this project other than like a Taylor Swift Lorde clone. Her music does not stand out in any way that makes her unique. The songwriting is just kind of okay. Again, the production is just very like Lorde, very Taylor Swift. I just don't understand the point of this record. I could just listen to Taylor or Lorde's best stuff. Yeah, it doesn't offer anything exciting to the table that I haven't already heard. Again, it just lacks it lacks a personality. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the point. So yeah, D tier. God, I guess we're just doing the trash albums now. We have freaking Post Malone, F1 Trillion. Oh, God. Just a complete sellout record here from Post where he is going all in on the country sound, doing the whole pop country thing and doing it in the most generic way possible. Vocals are as worse as they've ever been that I've heard from Post. Yeah, I just think it was a sellout record. I think it was a sellout record. I think it takes like all the elements of country right now that make mainstream country like so horrible, and it's him just riding that wave. Yeah, it's the most generic bro country tropes imaginable. So horrible. Did not like it. F tier. F tier. Go back to making pop music, please. Post, please. F tier. F tier. Like I said, we are getting the terrible albums out of the way here. We got Kanye West, Vultures 1. I mean, this album is garbage, not only for the music, because the music on it is terrible, but also just what it stands for. As Kanye, you cannot separate the artist from the artist on this album when Kanye is so many times on here referencing all the hateful things he's been saying, Kanye says on this record. So you cannot separate the art from the artist on this project. But, I mean, putting that aside, say if that weren't even on this record, the music is bad. Like, the production sucks. The mixing is terrible. The lyrics, Kanye obviously has lost his writers because he did not give one shit lyrically. So, trash. Another F. And then we have Vultures 2, which is, there's nothing to even discuss about this record. It's literally an unfinished album of demos and reference tracks. It is a disgrace. So F as well. Let's get the Kanye over with. Kanye is done. He's washed. He's terrible. He sucks, both as a person and now as a musician. So yeah. Trash. All right, Sabrina Carpenter, short and sweet. Had some of the biggest pop songs of the year on it. It just kind of seemed like what, no matter what Sabrina was dropping this year, it was just a hit. It was just a hit. And I do think there are a lot of fun, catchy songs on here. I really like Sabrina's writing approach. I think she's super fun and super quirky in a way that makes her stand out in the current pop landscape. And it is a pretty versatile project too. It's a pretty versatile project. She tries some country stuff here and there, some more R&B stuff. It's a fun pop record. I'm not really going back to it much, but I do think Sabrina can make something really, really good in the future. So I'm gonna put this in C tier, but it's a good C. It's a good C. Decent album, I agree. All right, let's do the future projects here. First, we have We Don't Trust You. Metro Beats killer. Future sounding hungry on this album. More energetic than he usually is. My only issue with it is it's a little bit bloated. I think there are some tracks that could have been cut. Some of the more singy tracks Future does, I'm not really into. I've never really been a fan of when Future sings. But I mean, overall, it is one of the better mainstream rap releases this year. So I'll put this one in the B. And then we have the other one, Still Don't Trust You, which is like him doing more of like a singing R&B 80s pop thing. This I didn't understand the point of. D tier. Like I do not like when Future sings. I don't think he's a good singer, but he likes to sing. Did not like that one. And there was also the mixtape, but I didn't even bother putting the mixtape on here because it was so forgettable. But this one didn't see the point in, so D tier. Oh man, I guess we are just like really getting the F's out of the way here because we have the Justin Timberlake album from this year, which I don't even remember the name of. But man, just like the Katy Perry record, man, just the heart is obviously not in it. Oh, also this album is like an hour and 20 minutes long. Who the hell wants to listen to an hour and 20 minute long Justin Timberlake album? Not me. I did do it though. Yeah, it just sees Timberlake doing all the trends that are like the most popular in music right now. And the vocals, oh man, he has lost it vocally. Not like he's ever been like the best vocalist or anything. Man, he is sounding rough on this project. Yeah, really bad. I don't think much people heard it, but it is bad. Hopefully we're done for a little bit with the Fs, but this is also going in the F tier. We've started off strong in the F tier. We have 5 already. Ooh, Clairo, Charm. Love this album. Clairo's best to me. Some of the best, most elegant production I've heard on an album this year. Love the live instrumentation from L. Michaels Affair. Absolutely killed it. Clairo's melody is sounding great. Her voice is sounding great. Writing is good, but I do probably prefer the writing off Sling a little bit more, but still, like, well written, well produced, melodies on point, vocals super cute. Love this album. B tier for Miss Clairo Charm. Then we have J. Cole. Might delete later. Like, what does there even say about this project, man? Like, he should have just deleted it. Why did he not delete it later? He should probably delete it later. It was like a surprise record, but still, you know how crazy it is to be disappointed by a surprise record? Because J. Cole, prior to this, was coming through with some of his best stuff. Like, I really think the offseason was one of, if not Cole's best project. He sounded hungry on there, but here, like, he just sounds asleep. Some of the weakest rapping I've heard from him, at least in the last 10 years. Like, yeah, just super forgettable, boring, raps are mid, and then him deleting that whole Kendrick diss too is just like, wow, you might as well just deleted the whole thing at that point. But yeah, not very good. D tier. All right. Now we have a controversial one here. Miss Camila Cabello, XOXO or something like that. CXOXO. Was that the name? I don't remember. Yeah, I mean, this project got crapped on pretty hard this year, from myself included, and for good reason. It's an absolute mess of a project. It is all over the place, a mess. Doesn't really know what it wants to do. I feel like it's trying to be this really weird, quirky, experimental album, but it just fails miserably because I don't think Camila and her team has like the best understanding of that type of pop music. And you know, she got shitted on pretty hard for like her trying the whole hyperpop thing and everyone accusing her of copying Charli XCX. And I do feel like on the first couple of singles, like that was pretty apparent. Like she definitely was biting a bit from Charli, not only with the sound but with the aesthetic of the whole record. But when you actually listen to the album, like most of it isn't hyperpop. Like it's just an all over the place mess. From the weird ass interludes, the terrible Drake features, it's just a mess. It probably is like Camila's most exciting record, but not exciting in the best ways. D tier. D tier. All right, we got Thames. I forgot the name of this record, but I was really excited for this record because it's the debut album. She put out really good EPs. I like her sound. I love her voice a lot, and it's solid. It's solid, but other than a few tracks here and there, I didn't see myself going back to it very much. Yeah, I don't know. It's a cool blend of like R&B and some other sounds. I was expecting way more from Thames. Hopefully the sophomore record is a bit better, but yeah, I mean, it's decent. It's C tier for me. God. All right, let's do 21 Pilots, which everyone thought was gonna be the return to Trench, their more rock sound that they were known for on the Trench record, which is my favorite 21 Pilots album, and probably the only 21 Pilots album I actually really like. And yeah, I feel like we kind of got baited pretty hard because this was not. I mean, the rock elements were there for sure, but it just wasn't as rock as Trench was. And God, some of the rapping on here still makes me cringe. With that being said, better than the last album, for sure, but still kind of left me disappointed that they didn't go all back in on that Trench sound that everyone kind of thought they were. It's decent. C tier as well. All right, let's do the Tyla album, the self-titled Tyla album. I was anticipating this one a lot. I do think this is a really solid debut. A cool blend of South African music, R&B. Like her voice a lot. It's a solid debut. I liked it quite a bit, and hopefully she does even better things on that sophomore record. And I think she will, because I think this was a solid start. Going in B tier. All right, let's do Glorilla, who had a huge year. My God, every single she was dropping for this project was a heater, man. And I love how she's bringing back that southern crunk sound. Yeah, she was putting out bangers this year, man. But the project overall, I do think it suffers a bit when she like derails from that southern rap style a bit. There's like some gospel elements on here and tracks where she sings a little bit that I'm like not as into. But when the bangers hit on this album, they hit. It's a decent project. So also going in C tier. Childish Gambino, Bando Stone in the New World. What the hell was this? What was this? Like this is the most frustrating album this year. Like I just do not understand. We waited so long for a new Gambino project and we get this album that is marketed with a movie that never even came out. Does it even exist? Does the album that was put with this project even exist? Like what even happened with that? I don't know. But sonically, it is just all over the place. It is all over the place. Doesn't know what it's doing. Has some cool experimental moments, sure. Overall, just an utter mess. An utter mess. Disappointing, but most of all, frustrating. And the more I just think about it throughout the year, the more it pisses me off because that movie thing never even came out, which I thought would maybe give some better context to the whole thing. But no, I don't know, man. This thing frustrates me. C tier. C tier. whatever. All right, God, I'm gonna be harsh. Can we get a good album? Let's do a good album here. Vince Staples, Dark Times. Interestingly enough, did not love this album on first listen. If you were in the stream that day when I listened to this album for the first time, you know I was not crazy about it on first listen, but second listen grew on me a little bit more, and then the third listen, boom, it clicked. This is, to me, the most dark and depressing rap album I've heard probably since like Earl Sweatshirt's Some Rap Songs. Like, not only with the lyrics and how dark the lyrics are, but just like the whole sound of the record too. The more I've listened to it, the more it's became maybe my favorite Vince record. One of the best rap projects of the year as well. Love it. And also sees Vince trying some different stuff too. Like there's Little Homies is like a more clubby track and some catchy tracks as well. So yeah, love this project, man. A tier from Vince. Moving on from there, let's do Doechii, man. Let's do Doechii. Alligator bites never heal. You know me, I've been on the Doechii train for 3 years now. Doechii is the one. She's the future. She is the everything. It's just like, when I heard Doechii for the first time, I was like, nah, like there's no way she is not a superstar. Like I haven't like seen an artist that is like that obviously a superstar probably since like Kendrick, where it's just so obvious and that in everything they're doing, there's no way they're not destined to be like popular, because she's so versatile. She could sing incredibly well. She raps her ass off. She can do a pop track. She can do a boom bap track. She can do a hip house track and absolutely kill it. Alter Ego was like a top 5 song of the year for me. So yeah, but I think this mixtape did everything it needed to do. I think it showcased her talent. I think that's why it was put out. I think it was meant to up her momentum a bit, and it did exactly that. I'm putting it in the B tier, but man, Doechii is just going to do bigger things when the actual debut album comes out, hopefully next year, and I cannot wait for that. Yeah, just it's been a while since, you know, I've been this excited about an artist, but glad everything's finally kind of, you know, coming to her now. Glad people are finally catching up. All right, let's do Casey Musgraves, Deeper Well. D for Deeper Well in the D tier. I probably like it more than Casey's last album. I just wish she would go more back to those country roots, because this is barely even a country record. I'm not even sure if I would call it a country record. Like, it's easily not that country at all. Like, it is more singer-songwriter poppy than anything. But I don't know, like the vocals are not doing it for me. The writing is not doing it for me. And I like a lot of Casey's older music, but I don't know. The direction she's been going with these past 2 albums has not excited me in any way whatsoever. Yeah, D tier. D tier, another disappointing one. The Don Toliver Project. I've seen people hip hop fans hyping up all year. I don't get why. What is so like likable about this project? Like, I think it starts off kind of strong. Like, there's some cool rage bangers in the first disc, because it's like a weird like 4-disc thing from what I remember, right? But man, like once he just goes back to like that Travis Scott melodic thing, it's just a bore. It is a bore, man. I am sorry. So boring. Yeah, I don't understand the hype. I've never understood the Don Toliver hype, and especially not getting it on this one, because people seem to be loving this project, and I truly don't get it. I'd rather just listen to Travis Scott. Man. Normani, man, finally dropped a record after this year. Dopamine. I mean, I don't know. Like, this thing had to be truly spectacular for this thing to live up to the hype for how long of a wait this is. But yeah, I mean, once I heard it, it just kind of confirmed that, like, I just don't think Normani is that, at least as of right now, that interesting of a solo artist. I think she's a fine vocalist, but I don't know. Like, I don't think it's really an interesting R&B record at all. I mean, it's a little bit mix of R&B and pop, but she's not, her songs, her music is not sticking out in any way to me. And some of the songs on here sound super dated too. I just don't think she like has that solo capability. Maybe I'll be wrong with the next project, but like this just gave nothing to me. I hate to do it to her, but I'm gonna say D2. Eminem, The Death of Slim Shady, cringe fest of a record. Interestingly enough, it's probably like the best Eminem album in the past 7 or 8 years, but that is not saying anything when his past couple records are truly almost unlistenable. The production is at least a little bit better than it has been on his previous records, and I do think the flows and the rapping ability is better, but the concept of this record is so unbelievably millennial cringe, dude. So cringe. Like, first of all, the way he just like so blatantly puts it in your face that it's a concept album. Like, we get it, dude. We get it. It's a concept album where you're killing off the Slim Shady character, and he's kidnapped the real Eminem, and he's saying the most outlandish shit imaginable, but the outlandish shit is not really all that outlandish. It's just cringe transphobia and crying about being canceled. It's just cringe. And only the most annoying millennial you know thinks it's good. So yeah, Eminem, D tier. The only reason I'm not putting it in an F is because the production is decent, and that JID song, the JID feature's really good, and the flows are decent, but that's about it. All right, baby. Magdalena Bay, Imaginal Disc. If you know me, you know this is going in S tier. It was my album of the year for 2024. Amazing, immaculate, produced incredibly well. The build-ups these tracks have, the way they make you feel is so intense, so amazing. Sounds like it's intergalactic, out of this world. Mika's voice is just so good. Her voice is so good. One of the best pop albums I heard this decade. I mean, it's been praised to hell for good reason. It's a fantastic pop record. S tier all the way. My album of the year for 2024, if you didn't already know. Ice Spice, Y2K, yeah. D tier, is it the worst thing I ever heard? No, but like, even though it is Ice Spice, I expected it a little bit more. Like, I thought it would be a little bit more fun than it was. The production isn't bad. It's got a little bit of bounce to it, but like, the charisma wasn't there. The charisma wasn't there that she showed in like the tracks that she went so viral for. Like, the charisma just was lacking. And I feel like she could have put more effort into the project. Not the worst thing I heard this year, but you know, she should have put more effort into it. At least the production was decent, I guess. Ooh, now we have Yeet 2093. I would never expected me to like a Yeet project as much as I did 2093, but to me, he is really pushing the sounds and the boundaries of rage rap on this album. It's super cinematic, it's eerie, the vibe is awesome, the production is great. Again, it's experimental, it takes risks, he's messing with his vocals too, his inflections. It's a cool ass record, man. I really love this project. Would have never expected me to like a Yeet project as much as this. He was pushing boundaries here, so A tier. And then we have the second record that he put out, which honestly, I don't understand the point of this. I guess it was just to appease the fans because there were a lot of Yeet fans that were complaining about 2093 because it was so experimental and it wasn't like those rage kind of stuff that he was doing on the previous projects. So I feel like he just put this project out to shut him up, but to me, it just lacked everything that made 2093 so good, man. Pointless project, man. I guess he wants to appeal a certain side of his fans, but to me, I say fuck those fans. Fuck those fans. See. All right, Porter Robinson, Smile XD. Love this album from Porter, man. I love how he blends his classic electronic sound with like that early 2000s pop punk kind of stuff like 303 or the Postal Service. I just think it's a cool mix of sounds, and it is a personal record, man. He gets some pretty heavy topics on here too, so love this one from Porter. A tier as well. Schoolboy Q, Blue Lips. Man, a return to form from Q. Such a return to form, getting back to his ambitious ways, a good mix of bangers and quite personal tracks on here, getting back into that thing that makes Q so stand out to me, and that's just like having some really cool structures to his tracks, filled with energy, filled with charisma, some of the best rapping you'll hear on a project this year. Q killed it, TDE killed it this year. I'm also putting this one in A. So we started off a little bit low, had a lot of D's and F's, but we've had like 3 A's in a row, so hey, that's pretty good. Good Races is a banger. Good Races is a banger. 21 Savage. Man, I kind of forgot this record even came out because it did come out at the start of the year. Yeah, I just feel like 21 has kind of like hit a wall at this point where he's not really doing anything new or interesting. Not really doing anything to change up his sound in any way. It's just a standard 21 project, which I mean, it's still going to give you some good tracks, definitely, but it's just a 21 project, which is like how many more projects like this are you gonna do, you know, until it kind of just gets old. Yeah, it was okay, but it was super forgettable, man. And I just hope with whatever 21 does next, he changes it up a little bit, man. Because again, I think he's really hit a wall here. Linkin Park. I thought I was gonna hate this record because obviously they introduced the newest singer. There's a lot of controversy behind that because of her background, as well, just as like, you know, having to fill the boots of Chester is a lot, man. But I thought I was gonna hate this album, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Like, whenever this project does the more like metal heavy tracks, it goes, but when it doesn't do that, it's just kind of okay. Did not hate it as much as I thought I was though, so for that, I'll put it in C tier. Callie, Miss Callie Uchis, the second Latin Spanish record of her career, came out at the way beginning of the year. It is not my favorite album from Callie. I do prefer pretty much anything she's released prior to this, and that's not because it's like a Spanish record, because I love the one that she put out in 2020. I thought that one was really great, and this one's really good too. This one's good too. Has some cool dance pop stuff going on, some disco vibes, and you know, it has a lot of different sounds, and vocals are killer. It is solid. Not one of my favorites from Callie, but Callie does not miss, so yeah, B tier. Tommy Richmond, Coyote, right? Yeah, I mean, I remember being like, just kind of thought this album was decent when I first heard it, but man, as time has gone on, other than that like closing track, yeah, and this record has just totally lost me. I don't remember much of it other than that closing track, and just the singles that he released prior, like $1 Million Baby and Devil Is a Lie, were just better than anything on this album. So I don't know. Super weird record. It was okay. C tier. Callie is 4 for 4. True. All right, Megan Thee Stallion. Megan. I thought this was really good. Like one of the better mainstream rap releases of the year. Surprised more people didn't talk about it. Even though like it had some of the biggest rap hits of the year. Obviously, Hiss went #1. There was that other track on here with the Japanese rapper that went super viral. Like she had some big tracks on this album. So surprised there wasn't many people talking about it. But in terms of like Megan albums, not mixtapes, I think this is the best studio album she's put out so far. She was sounding hungry, rapping rapping wise throughout. Yeah, I mean, she sounded hungry on this album, and not as many pop heavy focused tracks. I do think what she did do that on this album it was the weakest, but yeah, I mean, the rapping is really good, and the songs overall are really strong. I thought this was a good record from her. I wish it got a little bit more praise, but B tier. All right, Vampire Weekend, Only God was above us. Man, so good. The production, the instrumentation on this thing, some of the best of the year. Songwriting is great as well. Vocals are incredible too. Vampire Weekend's best album to me, man. Best album. This was a top 5 record of the year for me, so it's also going to go in S. Yeah, Vampire Weekend's album was just one of the best produced, one of the best orchestrated records I heard this year. All right, let's do McGee, the new McGee album. I think very similar to the Doechii record, it showcased his talent, man. Really good guitar playing throughout. He has a really cool, like, sound as well. Cool voice, too. My only issue with the project is it's a little short. Wish it was a little bit longer. Wish some of the tracks were a little bit more, a little longer, but it showcased the talent for sure. It was an impressive project. It just has me more excited to see what McGee is going to do in the future. So I'll put this one in B. Just like the Doechii, he's going to go, I think he's going to go on to do some great things, whatever the next project is. All right, back to the bad stuff, man. We have Genre, Sad Boy, one of the worst albums I heard this year. You guys know this. It was an emo rap album from Trippie Redd and MGK, written from the perspective of a middle schooler that thinks they are very sad. Like, just absolute cringe, terrible singing, terrible project. F tier. F tier. All right, Cordae. Coming into this decade, man, Cordae had so much potential, and I still think the guy's really talented, and I think the singles going into this project were good too, so I was hyped for it. But overall, it was just okay. It was just okay. I just don't think, like, Cordae has, like, improved all that much since his debut project, which is really, really frustrating. Has not lived up to that potential. Like, if he has one more album to me that is just like this, I don't know. I'm probably off the Cordae hype train at that point. But speaking of good rap albums, Mr. Denzel Curry, King of the Mischievous South, Volume 2. Banger after banger after banger. Just nothing but hard-hitting, energy-filled, southern bangers. Denzel cannot miss. He will never miss. He is incapable of missing. Has quietly built up, not even quietly, but has just built up one of the most consistent discographies, and not just rap, but just of all of, 2010s era artists. B tier for banger. Next is this Omar Apollo album. Yeah, C tier. I'm sorry. This is just like Frank Ocean at home to me. This is just Frank Ocean at home. I don't think his style is unique at all. I just think he's, like, super hard, wears his influences honestly, and it is just so obviously Frank, but just, like, with not as good songwriting capability. But shout out to him. I know he's killing it in the movie scene. I know he's in that new Luca film, which I really want to see. So, shout out to him for killing it in that aspect. Maybe he has a career in that as well. But yeah, C tier. C tier. Zach Bryan, The Great American Bar Scene. This is, again, back-to-back years of Chris putting out one of the best albums in country. I just think he has a super poetic writing style that's super standout. I think he picks really pretty production. He has a great voice. He just continues to impress me when it comes to mainstream country music. So, A tier. Really love this project, but I actually like it more than his last album. Ooh, Rachel Chena Riri. What a devastating turn of events. If you've not heard it, highly recommend. One of the best pop albums of the year, in my opinion. I love her songwriting skills. I love her storytelling skills. I think it mixes a really cool blend of, like, pop, rock, and like shoegaze throughout. Strong debut from Rachel. A pop artist to watch, especially out of the UK. B tier. Quadeca, Scrapyard. Yeah, I mean, Quadeca just seriously impressed me this year with how unique, one of kind, and, like, difficult to pin down this project was. It's not really an album, it's just like a compilation, like mixtape kind of thing, but man, like, he has found such a unique sound for himself that mixes hip-hop with, like, electronic, shoegaze, and just all different types of sounds, folk too. Like, it's sick. It just has a really cool sound, such a standout style. Liked his last project a lot, thought this is really great. Apparently he has an album coming out in 2025, and if it's, like, as good as this, like, damn, like, this is a top 5, like, top 6 project of the year for me, and if it's gonna be as good as this, the next project, we're talking, like, album of the year territory. So Quadeca, man, S tier. Remained one of my favorite projects throughout the year. Knocked Loose. Listen, I am very picky when it comes to heavy metal music, but man, this one scratches that itch for me, man. Knocked Loose, B tier. This album rips. This album goes off. The vocals are so damn hard hitting. The production is insane. The riffs go off. It's not too long either. Like, it's a nice length, and the tracks all go into each other really nicely. So yeah, liked it a lot. Then we have this boring ass Coldplay album, which I'll just go ahead and throw that in the D tier. I don't know how many people heard the Coldplay album, but it was produced by John Hopkins, I believe is his name. Great producer, but he cannot help you, man. Like, he cannot save you from sounding boring as hell. So yeah, super boring album. fell asleep listening to it, almost D tier. All right, then we got Biba Doobie, came through with her third record, I believe, which was executive produced by Rick Rubin, which had me pretty hyped. I do like it. I think I loved a lot of tracks on here. I like how she went more like pop rock than she ever has on here. I think Rick Rubin in that aspect did do his thing. I did not love it as much as Beatopia, but I did think it was a really solid project. Didn't quite crack my top 50 this year, but I did put it in an honorable mention. You know, and she just gained even more popularity this year, which is always a good thing. But yeah, she still did it putting out some really cute tracks. So Biba Doobie, put it in B. Gunna, forgot even dropped this year, man. But it's a Gunna album. It's a Gunna album. It's a snooze. It's a snooze fest. It's a more. I do like the cover though. The cover is sick. But with that being said, it's a Gunna album. Forgot even dropped. D tier. All right. Ooh, the Marias. Wasn't like too familiar with Marias prior to this year. I do know that they were on the Bad Bunny record from a few years back, but other than that, I wasn't like too familiar with them. But like this album when I first heard it, but throughout the year, as the year went on, I just saw myself going back to it more and more because I love the dream pop, bedroom pop sound they captured with this record, and I really love the lead singer's vocals too. Just a dreamy record, man. Yeah. B tier. Let's do JPEG Mafia. I laid down my life for you. I mean, lyrically, it's standard Peggy, but instrumentally, man, some of his best production is on here. Like the rock elements, I think are sick, and the string arrangements, like what? The sample chop ups too, like some of his most interesting stuff on a production end. You know, Peggy's just like always ends up in my top list every year he drops, and he's just a one of a kind, unique hip hop producer, man. So yeah, A tier from Mr. JPEG Mafia. All right, let's do Jordy Greep, a new sound, one of my best like first listens we had this year. If you were there for the stream, you remember. Was absolutely blown away, mind blown, taken aback by how just insane this record is, man. It is unhinged. Not only with like very chaotic production, which is super sick. The build-ups and how just chaotic it is awesome. Production is some of the best stuff you're gonna hear all year. The mix of like the rock sound that he's kind of known for, jazz, Latin, Brazilian sounds, like it's a sick mix of sounds, and conceptually and lyrically, it's just wild. Like pretty much just about this insane egotistical maniac who like hires this escort. Like it is just a wild concept, wild in terms of sound too. Truly a one of a kind album. S tier. That probably is it for all the S's, to be honest, but we'll see. All right. Ooh, No Worries, man. No Worries. I've been waiting for this album for so long, but yeah, it was long. It was worth the wait, man. It is a divorce. It is a sad record. It is a divorce record. Make no mistake about it. Like Anderson, heartbroken on this album, and he's doing it over just like these most soulful knowledge beats, man. Why Lord, absolutely love this project. Killer follow-up to the first album that they made together. I would say even better. So A tier. All right, let's do Halsey, which I don't know, like I do respect this record for sure because it is a very vulnerable record, and obviously I do realize she was definitely 100% going through a lot of things, both mentally and physically, no doubt. And I do respect that aspect of it. And yeah, even if there are some moments where like I don't think the songwriting is as strong as it maybe should be, but I do respect that aspect of it. With that being said, conceptually, you know, how she tried to do all these different sounds from different eras, I just think it resulted in some sounds that did not work for her and she was not particularly strong in. And I get she probably did that because it made it easier to, you know, get off talk about the topics that she did on this record that were so heavy. So again, I respect this album for, you know, how vulnerable it is and how heavy it is, but you know, sonically it's just not for me, man. So yeah, C tier, unfortunately. Kid Cudi, Insano. I'm a huge Kid Cudi fan, man. Does he have his terrible records? Yeah, but he has classic records too, man. The Man on the Moon series, 1, 2, and 3 to me are all just great albums. You know, I guess he tried to have fun on here, took it less seriously, not that melodic, moody Cudi we're used to. He was just trying to like, he was just kind of doing bangers, I guess, but like, not his strength, man. Not his strength. I'm keeping it where it is currently in D tier. Yeah, not one of Cudi's better projects at all. Green Day album, barely remember a thing from it. I really don't. It was definitely better than Father of whatever, Bride of It All, whatever the hell that last record was, whatever the hell that cringe ass album was. But I mean, you really could only go up from there, truthfully. So like, it's not really saying much. But yeah, I mean, they're just still kind of sounding old on this project. I can't remember a thing from it. So I guess I'll put that one in D2, I guess. All right, ooh, Lupe Fiasco, Samurai. Yeah, one of the best rap albums. I mean, there's a lot of great rap albums this year, and this is certainly one of them. I mean, lyrically, the guy is one of the best ever to do it. So it should go without saying, you know, the rapping is phenomenal on here. But conceptually, man, like only Lupe Fiasco could come up with the concept of making your album written in the perspective of Amy Winehouse if she was a battle rapper. Like only Lupe could come up with something like that. The concept is, you know, kind of confusing still to me when I actually listen to the project, but the rapping is still incredible. The jazzy production is is killer. And, you know, rapping wise, like I said, lyrically, there's no one really touching Lupe. Also, the hooks are really good on this project too. So yeah, B tier. Lupe killed it. Raven Lene, Bird's Eye. I've been waiting for my vinyl for this project forever. Like, can I get that in the mail already? Like, Jesus. One of the best R&B albums I've heard in a minute, man. Love her voice, man. The production choices she made on this album were great. She is such a good songwriter, man. Like, smooth record, pretty record. Again, love her voice. Stand out, one of a kind voice. Raven Lene, hell yeah, A tier. One of the best R&B projects of the year. Big Ideas, Remy Wolf. I feel like Remy does not get enough love that she probably should, because she is making some of the most quirky, fun, catchy pop music I've heard in a minute, man. And she has a great voice. I just don't understand why Remy hasn't been getting as much love as she should. But yeah, she just makes really fun pop music that's catchy and so much personality too. Top 5 pop record of the year probably for me. B tier. Ooh, Miss Adrienne Lenker. Bright Future. Adrienne Lenker. Beautiful folk record. Probably the best written record of the year. Like, she's just one of a kind songwriter. Instrumentation is lush. It's pretty. It's gorgeous. Sad as hell. A lot of the songs on here are really sad. But yeah, great album. Top tier songwriting. Also going in A tier. Ooh, now we got Bobby, Mr. Logic. Ultra 85, long awaited project from him. A project that, you know, I think Logic fans once thought would never come out. I remember liking this on stream when we heard it. I haven't gone back to it much. I do think that Z Looper's track is sick though. It is one of Bobby's better projects in a while. He sounded hungry on here. Definitely. Had a lot to get off his chest. Definitely. Production is solid. Super soulful. Chop ups are cool. I've never really been like the biggest Logic fan, so that's probably why I don't see myself going back to it too much. But, you know, I do wish more people still talked about it, because I do feel like over the past couple years since Logic has went independent, you know, he hasn't really been getting as much recognition as he once did, which is unfortunate because he is putting out some solid projects still. But yeah, I did like this project when I heard it. Maybe I should revisit it, but B tier. Ooh, we got Nia Archives, Silence is Loud, drum and bass, jungle. No one doing it quite like Nia Archives. She brings this really nice soulful element to that sound. Her songwriting is great too. If you like drum and bass, and if you like jungle, or even if you don't, I think you'll like a lot about this project, man. So loved it. I'm actually gonna put this one in A. I really like this album. Ian, this album, trash, garbage, throw it away. Don't want to hear it ever again. Ian is just everything that sucks about white guys making rap music, I guess. It's just like he nothing original about him, just steals and rips everything he does from Future or Cardi, pretty much. And the way he like markets himself is like, it's like he takes the genre as a joke. So yeah, nothing interesting about him. He sucks. He's awful. His music is trash. Yeah, F tier. I guess with that being said, we'll do Netspend, the Netspend record. One thing I'll say about Netspend compared to Ian is at least I think what he does is actually like authentic. Like I do think he actually cares about what he does, and I don't think he takes the genre as like a joke, which is like I can give him a little bit more credit, but still, I do not get it. I do not get it. Like it is still like very derivative to me, and the production is just like blasted and mixed like shit. The vocals are annoying. I don't know. Maybe when he gets older, he'll do more interesting things, but like I don't get it. D tier, I'm sorry. One of the most underrated albums of the year to me, and that is Mustafa, Dunya. I'll go ahead and put that in B tier off the rip. Super underrated, man. Like Claro is on this project. Jid is on this project. Rosalia is on this project. So Allegra, Daniel Caesar, like these are names, big names are on this record. And I think that should tell you everything you need to know, that if like those type of people are involved in your record, you got something good going on. It is a very pretty folk album with standout poetic songwriting. Poetic songwriting. I cannot praise his songwriting enough. Writes a lot about his life, his upbringing, his struggles. I just think it's a beautiful project, man. So underrated. Listen to it if you have not. Mustafa, B tier. The Cure, big comeback record over here. No, Cure fans love this thing, and for good reason. B tier, I'm gonna put it in. It's very rare that a group that long into their career and that long of a hiatus too puts out a good project, but like, you know, they stuck true to their sound. Robert Smith's vocals are great. His songwriting is still great. Like they did not lose it in that aspect. Is it, you know, one of their best projects? No, but it is a solid addition to their discography and a welcoming addition to their discography. So B tier. Penif, Lil Dicky, absolutely terrible. One of the worst listens I've had all year. It is, I guess, the soundtrack to his TV show that I'm never going to watch after listening to this album, because that album was that bad. It is painfully unfunny. It is cringe. I did not laugh one time, and it was desperately trying to be funny. And again, it just feels like it is taking rap as a joke, and I did not laugh once. So Absolute trash. F tier. Ooh, we have The Last Dinner Party, Prelude to Ecstasy. I've said it a million times, this is one of the best debut albums I heard in a while. They have like a cool, very theatric rock pop sound. Great chemistry as a group, great vocals, catchy tracks, well-written tracks. Yeah, really good debut album. Really impressive. Really impressive. I'm putting it in A tier now, and this is like this was a top 10 album of the year. I think it was like 7 or 8 for me on my year-end list. So like with the sophomore record, man, you know, who knows? Who knows what they can do? But Last Dinner Party, really happy I found out about them this year. Awesome group. God. Jared Collier, the Jesse series. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put this one in F2. Sorry, Jared, or not Jared, Jacob Collier. Sorry, don't even know his name. Sorry, Jacob. I know you got nominated for a Grammy for this project. I don't understand why. I get the guy's talented. He knows a lot of musical theory, but you know, musical theory does not mean you're gonna make good music. And the vocals are so overly processed on this album, it is unbearable. It is messy in terms of the production. It just doesn't know what he's doing. Like, Jacob's just throwing ideas at the wall, and none of them are sticking. They're just falling flat to the ground. Jacob Collier is not winning album of the year. I'll bet on that. I'll bet my TikTok account on that. I will bet my YouTube videos on that. We're safe. Jacob Collier's not winning. I don't know. Jacob, you're a talented guy. You know a lot of musical theory, but you do too much, man. You do too much. Sorry. F tier. Fontaines DC, Irish band that had some of my favorite rock singles of the year for sure. Know a lot of people love this record. I wasn't as crazy about the deep cuts, but they are a band to watch 1000%, and they're super based as a group too. I'll put it in C, but you know, they are a band to watch. They are a band to watch. Willow, man, really came into her own on this project, man. Some of the best melodies and vocals on any project I heard all year. She's just, yeah, she's really came into her own as an artist. It's been cool to watch. B tier. B tier. Joey Valentine Bray, No Hands, one of the most fun albums of the year. Love how they blend like throwback hip hop with house, you know, like Beastie Boys style hip hop with house. I think it's sick. And then their lyrics are just so stupid, but in the best way possible. Just fun. Just fun. Not many projects this year I listened to that I had more fun listening to than this one. B tier. I'm losing my voice over here. I'm not gonna lie. St. Vincent, All Born Screaming. A little bit disappointed by this project because Broken Man was one of the best singles of the year to me. But yeah, I mean, it started off strong, but as soon as it hit that weird Sophie tribute track, just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. The other two songs after that weren't really that great either. So yeah, I mean, the first 5 or so tracks, 6 or so tracks are solid, but it ends kind of weird to me. I don't know. Yeah, that Sophie track just left a bad taste in my mouth. So C tier. All right, now we have the R&B trio Flow, Access All Areas. I had this very high on my year-end list. To me, it is the R&B album of 2024. The vocals on point, the songwriting on point, the production on point, the chemistry on point. Flow is the future. I've been saying this for years, and they finally showed that with this project, which I thought was a great debut, man. Great debut. Just some of the best R&B music I heard all year, man. Yeah, they're great. Love Flow. A tier. All right, this next one is an interesting one. This Lil Yachty and James Blake record, dude. What a forgettable project. I remember really liking this when I first heard it on stream. I liked the vibe of it quite a bit. And, you know, James Blake and Lil Yachty together seems interesting, but man, I don't remember a single song off this album. Maybe I should go back and listen to it, but I seriously cannot remember a single thing about it. Not a single thing, which isn't good. I don't know. Yeah, just like, I don't think there's an album this year that came and went more than this one. C tier. Juice WRLD, Party Never Ends. Like, I just kind of, it's kind of weird even rating this one just because it's just gross. You know, you're having this many posthumous records and when you're just taking like freestyles, unfinished tracks, making them into an album. It's frustrating. I don't know. Posthumous records like this just should not exist. They're gross. Is it the worst thing ever? No, but D tier. God, so many D's already, man. I had to shrink the page. Shrink the page a little bit. Smile, Wall of Eyes, it was good. I probably put it in B, but I did not go back to it as much as I maybe would have hoped I would have. It does have a really nice spacey vibe to it, atmospheric vibe. I think Tom's songwriting is good. Production's good. I don't know. It just doesn't really match the Radiohead level stuff, I guess. It was so good, though. This MG Letterman album was like one of the most acclaimed records of the year. I not really in the hype. I'll put it in B because I did like the record when I heard it, and I do think the songwriting is pretty funny. It did have me entertained. Was not like the craziest about his vocals though. I will say that. Yeah, I mean it's a fun album. It's a fun album. I just do not get like the album of the year label this thing is getting. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get it with the next project. I don't know. It was a fun listen though. I can give it that. All right, now we have Diamond Jubilee by MJ Lenderman, which is a project I got too late into the year, I think, to like truly appreciate it. But it does have some of the best guitar playing I've heard in a while. Like the guitar playing is sick. Has a really cool throwback aesthetic too. I'm gonna put it in B for now, but I think I'm gonna visit this project more as the months go on, and I could see it growing on me more. But yeah, Really liked it. Underrated one here, MGMT, their last album, I did not get enough love as I really hoped it would have. Sure, it's not as catchy and like electronic as like their previous records, but it's really like a mature project from them, and they have a lot to say in terms of the writing, a lot of stuff to say. So I don't know, I wish this one got more love too. B tier. As goes with the Justice, similar thing, like legends in the game. Justice though, I don't think since Cross have like put out the most standout stuff and really have not came close to that Cross record, but I think they came the closest they ever came with this one because they were back in true form here, putting out some of the best electronic music of the year. B tier. The Conan Gray album was pretty bland, generic, 80s inspired pop, not really all that interesting. D tier. Jack White, No Name, killer record, super impressed. Probably Jack's best solo effort so far. I'm gonna put this one in A. This album rips. The guitar riffs on it go hard. Jack is like as energetic as like I've heard him in so long. Like the energy is coming through on here is like White Stripes level good. Yeah, so impressed by the Jack White record. He killed it. A tier, man. One of the best rock albums of 2024. This Blade album, I remember liking a lot when I heard it, but it is really too long. It is a bit bloated. But in terms of the Rage sound, I think it is one of the more standout Rage projects in recent years, other than like the Yeet, obviously. So I can give it that, even though I haven't returned to it much and it was a little long. I did enjoy it when I heard it. B. We got the Dare here. Yeah, it kind of just was LCD sound system at home. I can't lie to you, man. Not to say that there weren't fun tracks. There were. There also were some moments where the songwriting was kind of bad and kind of tacky. Not to say I don't see the merit in what the Dare's doing. And I do think he's a talented producer. And, you know, the indie New York sleaze thing, bringing it back is kind of cool, but I wish and I hope with his next project that he does it in a more standout way and improves the writing. He really needs to improve that songwriting a bit. And if he does that, maybe he can make a really solid project. But for now, C tier. Maggie Rogers came through with like a folk country record. I've never really been like a big Maggie Rogers fan. I do think this is probably like her best project, but I don't know, there's just more interesting stuff in like folk music right now than what this project kind of offered for me. I thought it was cool. If you love it, I get it, I guess, but it didn't really stop me in my tracks, so C tier. Chief Keef, Almighty So 2. Bangers on here, man. I think Keef really shined as a producer here. Some of his best production ever. It's energetic, it's fun. It's also like some of Keef's most personal tracks are on here. Keef's never known for getting like a little introspective, but he does that on here quite a bit, which I loved. Yeah, one of my favorite Keef projects. B. Jamie XX was a really good electronic house album. We waited a while for this project to release. Do kind of wish I loved it more. I do probably prefer the album from like 10 years ago a little bit more to this, but you know, it was good. I just didn't come back to as much as I maybe thought, but still solid. B tier. This Faye Webster record, I've liked a lot of Faye Webster songs in the past, but I don't know, man. This record did nothing for me. It did nothing for me. It was short, didn't really leave much of an impression. Yeah, also C tier. What even was this? What was this Voids record? Weird ass vocals, just like weird ass production. Like, I don't know what Julius was doing, or I don't know what Julian was doing. Like, please just go back to making the Strokes music, please. I mean, the last Voids project wasn't even bad, but like this was just what the hell. Ali X, this was a really good pop album, a really good 80s pop record, you know, and in a time where that kind of sound is getting kind of played out. I think she stands out doing it. Love her voice, love her personality. Really good pop album. B tier. The Shoo Shoo record, I've never been like, truthfully told, I've never been like a big Shoo Shoo guy. I've always respected what they did, but I've always kind of found it hard to get into them, and I still kind of do. But I do think this is like one of their more accessible records. Like this one is like, they're probably like least experimental, even though there is some experimental elements, obviously. But yeah, it's a more accessible record, I think, from them, and it rocks pretty hard. Like, it is more rock than most of the stuff I've heard from them. Like a more tame rock, at least, than most of the stuff I heard from them. But I did enjoy it. B tier. Ooh, Beth Givens, Lives Overgrown, beautiful, haunting record. Writing is haunting. Everything about this record is haunting. That's the best way to describe it, is just haunting. Put this one in A as well. Beth Gibbons of Portishead, that long into her career, still putting out just beautiful records. Yeah, A tier. Oh man, you want to talk about forgettable records? Big Sean, like I feel bad for Big Sean, because truthfully, this record isn't that bad. This Big Sean record is not that bad, and he does really open up about a lot of personal stuff on this album as well. It is a little long. I just think like the rollout is what really hindered this project. Like, I think it took him way too long to release it too. I've never been like a big Sean guy, no pun intended, and it's not one of the best rap albums of the year, but I don't know. There's things to like about it. I do wish it kind of got more love. I do feel bad a little bit, but a C's here still. Kamasi Washington, his newest album, I thought was a pretty solid jazz record. Kamasi killer on the sax as always. It's no the epic, but it's still a good effort. B tier. Freddie Gibbs, You Only Live Twice. Freddie's one of my favorite rappers of of recent memory, and this was like a really quick release project from him, and it has its moments for sure. I mean, even Freddie's like more B-sides kind of stuff is still gonna be solid. Yeah, I just kind of felt like a project that's gonna hold us over, hopefully for like a bigger project coming down the pipe, either next year or the year after. I don't know. It's not gonna be a Freddie project I go back to much though. It's all right. C tier as well. But rap projects that I have been going back to a lot more this year: the Mac Hami Rich Ass Haitian record. Another guy who like I've never been like huge on. I did like the Pray for Haiti record quite a bit, and some of the other stuff is cool. I do think he's a really good rapper, but just some of his best production choices on here. Love the track with Kaytranada on this project. Yeah, just great flows, great bars, good production. Yeah, one of the best rap albums of the year for sure, and Mac Hami's best in my opinion. B tier. Ooh, Gene Dawson, Glimmer of God. I've been big on the Gene Dawson train for a minute. I think he makes really cool alternative projects, and this is his prettiest record to date. The string arrangements on this album are so gorgeous, man. And I like the more like pop stuff that he tried on here too. Different from a lot of his other records, but still like a great addition to his discography. Mount Yuri, Night Palace, his newest album. Phil Elverum, one of the greatest songwriters ever to ever do it, especially in the indie scene. I think he gets back to more experimental roots on this project, especially with the writing. I think the writing on here is super creative. It is a little long, man. It is a little long, hard to get through at points for me. I think the more I have some time to sit with it, though, I might like it a little bit more. But as of now, still solid addition to Phil's discog. B tier. Chelsea Wolfe album, The Queen of Goth. Dark record, gothy record, haunting record. Really enjoyed it. B tier. Ravina, one of the best R&B soul records of the year. Not much to say other than that. I love her voice, and I think she put out one of the best R&B projects of the year for sure. So Ravina, going to B. English Teacher, their debut album, I was pretty impressed by. To me, they're like a female-led Black Country New Road. Like the lead vocalist here is a girl, but she has like those same quirky aesthetics that like an Isaac did. And the production, I think, is if you like Black Country New Road, I think you'll like what English Teacher is doing. And yeah, I thought this was a good debut. Excited to see what they do on the sophomore project, because I think that one will be better. So hell yeah. B tier though. Impressed. Impressive band to look out for. Poppy, Miss Poppy going metal on this project, and I think she does a good job doing it, going all in on the metal sound. And I think her voice is perfect for that sound. I hope that is something she continues to do. I hope on the next project that she does this, she goes even harder. So this is the most I've enjoyed a Poppy album. So B tier. Jessica Pratt, very similar to that Cindy Lee, I think has a really cool throwback aesthetic and sound that I enjoyed quite a bit. Also going to put this in the B tier. We're kind of getting towards the end here, so we're moving kind of quick, but hey, Benny the Butcher. I don't think I had another Grizel. I mean, there was like Westside put out a project this year. Conway put out a project this year. I think Benny probably had like the best of them all. But even with that being said, like, I don't know, Griselda this year kind of lost it for me. They're not really putting out as interesting albums as they once did. And yeah, this Benny project like went more to like the mainstream kind of sound, but I don't know, man. Like some of he doesn't sound like his heart is in it with the rapping anymore. It's not the high quality bars I expect from Benny, which is super disappointing. So yeah, C tier, I guess. And like the West Side and the Conway were probably going the same spots. This Lotto project, I was really hyped for the Lotto album because I do think she's a great rapper, and I thought she had a lot of momentum on her side, but I didn't care for this project much. I don't think it showcased her rapping ability as well as it should have. The poppier tracks don't do it for me. She's not good at doing that pop sound, in my opinion. Yeah, this was a disappointing one for me, man. It was fine, I guess, but C tier. Father John Misty, his latest project. I know a lot of people love this thing, and I do prefer it to the album he put out a few years ago. But and there's some great written tracks on here. Don't get me wrong. I think it is a little bit. I think he's experimenting with like different sounds more than he ever has, for sure. And I think at some points that could be a little bit hit or miss, but solid written, solid vocally, well produced. B tier. Kim Gordon of the legendary band Sonic Youth, at the age of 70, came through and dropped a weird ass experimental kind of like trap a little bit album, which is just weird as hell. And I don't think there will ever be a 70-year-old that makes an album as ambitious as this. So for that reason alone, B tier. Fun listen. Haven't gone back to it much, but it was a fun listen when I heard it. An album that grew on me right here is the Kaytranada Nada record, which I mean, there were a lot of tracks I liked on it on first listen, but after I went to Nada's concert, I went back to this record and I found myself enjoying it even more. And the more I've listened to it, I do think it's probably my favorite Nada record now. So a big grower for me, B tier. All right, Julia Holter, one of the prettiest records of the year, man. Super pretty, gorgeous album. Love her sound, man. It's a beautiful sound. B tier. Tinashe, Quantum Baby. Did not like it as much as the album that she put out last year, BB Angel, but I do still think this was one of the better R&B projects I heard this year. I still think Tinashe is killing it with the like alternative R&B sound, and she's really carving out a cool lane for herself, and she did have one of her biggest hits ever, which is awesome. But yeah, still like this project. Hopefully the third one is a little bit better though. But B tier. Man, Igloo, Ghost, B tier I'd probably put, but still like one of the best electronic albums of the year. This album is awesome. It's so uniquely produced. His vocals are sick. It goes as hard as the album cover. Like seriously, it's that good. All right, Laura Marling. I'd actually throw this in B. Great songwriting, beautiful vocals, just a really, really pretty alternative record. Highly recommend if you have not checked that one out. Rhapsody. Yeah, I mean, this is Rhapsody's first record in like 5 years. I thought it was likable. I'd probably throw it in B. It is like her Mr. Morale in the Big Steppers in a lot of ways. And I'm not just saying that just because it's like a personal record, but like it is like a very therapeutic record. And like, even though I remember in that first track, like she brings up the Dr. Sebi thing too, which is like also similar with what Kendrick did. But it is a very Mr. Morale, or it's like a Mrs. Morale in the Big Steppers, you know? It's like a Mrs. Morale in the Big Steppers. I don't know. I loved Eve and I love Layla's Wisdom. I don't know. I haven't seen myself going back to this Rhapsody album like at all. Maybe I should revisit it. It was likable though. B tier. And lastly here we'll do Tierra Whack, which is another one. I think I feel very similar about the Tierra Whack that I do the Rhapsody record, that it was a very personal one, a very vulnerable one, a very depressing one, but also very therapeutic. And you know, the quirkiness and the weirdness that we love from Tierra is still there, definitely. But again, I just haven't seen myself going back to it much. I still probably throw it in B though. I mean, there's some others I could have done obviously, but you know, I don't want to keep this video going forever. But that's pretty much it, guys. That is the ultimate 2024 album tier list. As you can see, there was a lot of great music, but also a lot of bad music, and it's like that every year. But overall, man, 2024 was great. Cannot wait for next year. Hopefully next year is just as good as this year. That's pretty much it.